Right? Yep.
It's late December and we're post this episode on January 2nd. It's still hunting season throughout most states in the Whitetails range. It's one of my favorite times of year, the late season when big bucks are predictable.
GrowingDeer.tv is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops. Also by Reconyx, Trophy Rock, Gallagher, Muddy Outdoors, Eagle Seed, Nikon, Winchester Ammunition, Redneck Hunting Blinds, Dead Downwind, and Antler Dirt.
Now it's muzzleloader season in Missouri, and you're only allowed one buck with a gun during either regular rifle season or muzzleloader season. I was blessed enough to take a nice buck earlier this year, so it's time for Adam to get in front of the camera. It was really foggy that morning, limiting our vision to 50 to 100 yards, but our muzzleloader shoots great out to almost 200 yards, so we weren't able to capitalize the full range of the tool we had in hand.
Still wicked foggy. Visibility's less than 50 yards probably, so hopefully it'll burn off here in a little while and we'll have some movement.
As the fog began to lift, Adam was studying the bedding area we were overlooking with his Nikons, and I heard him whisper he saw tines.
Just to the right.
But the tines he saw were laying on the ground.
About 10:45, I caught an antler down here in the brush and got my heart racing, and I realized there wasn't a body attached to that antler. It's a shed from last year, so I'm gonna climb down and go pick it up. See if I can find the other side. All right, well, here we are. Here's the shed that was laying about 50 yards down the hill from us. It sure looks like giant 10, but I guess we'll never know for sure. He had that very distinct G4 that fell off his main beam, angled out, but anyway, it looks like I got an early jump on all those shed hunters this coming March.
Although I haven't submitted genetic samples to make sure this is actually giant 10, the similarities give me 90% confidence. It's great evidence of allowing young but decent bucks to pass can turn into those whopper bucks we all dream about. Gotta remember, they won't grow unless you let them go. Even though we knew giant 10 had been harvested, there was a reason we were hunting that bedding area. Big bucks get big by making great choices. Giant 10 had obviously selected great habitat. When he's taken out, another buck will sense that dominance is gone and move in. Sometimes the difference between dominance and subordinate is just a couple of inches or maybe 1 year. A 5 or 6 year old's taken out, the local 4 or 5 year old may move in. If you've got a pattern on a big buck, remember that pattern because it might be good for years to come. Our best source of MRI is our Reconyx cameras. As I've explained in past episodes, we usually set them up high on trees, can them a little bit down, and use that time-lapse feature, taking a picture of the whole field every 5 minutes, just boom, boom, boom. So even if the deer's 200 yards away, we're still getting an image, can zoom in, and pretty much sex or class the deer. Adam and I spend a lot of time studying the weather and maps and a list of all of our stands on our property, deciding where to hunt each time. Turns out there was a great pattern of deer using Hidden Valley 2, but the pattern was late afternoon, 4:30 to 5 entering the field. We came to the decision that Hidden Valley 2 would be a great stand. Now, Hidden Valley 2 is in a steep valley, as the name implies, and a north or south wind hits that valley and just swirls. But a due west wind blows from the back of the field towards the stand. How we approach the field should give the hunter the advantage they need.
It's about 4:15 when we checked our Reconyx images midday today. We saw that a lot of the deer, about 90% of them, are here at 4:30 and later. So we're sitting on pins and needles waiting because we know at any moment now, old Giant 8 can be stepping out.
Knowing that deer had been coming in the field between 4:30 and 5, they were sitting on pins and needle, And sure enough, about 5 o'clock, 2 antlerless deer came into the field.
Are you on them, Thomas?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Adam's a committed deer manager, and he knows we need to harvest a few more does to keep our sex ratio in balance and reduce our population just a little bit so we got enough food to make it through the harsh winter that could come.
Shows up. But as soon as she starts heading down, I'm gonna take her.
And about the time he makes his mind to go ahead and take the doe, she gets behind the only tree left in the food plot.
Come on, doe. Do something.
At 90 yards, it's do or die time because light's fading and the doe's about out of the field.
Okay. Showtime. Ready? Ready? I drop her? We almost let that one slip away.
We shot a big doe.
You did?
Yeah.
You sent us a text or
Well, we just now shot her, like right before dark.
Oh yeah, she's laying right there.
dropped her in the
Dropped her,
spot?
yeah.
Congratulations, that's
Thanks.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Put one down for the freezer.
Put one down, yep.
Balance that deer herd and you're showing off for the intern. Of course, I went back down with them for the ceremonial picture taken and hearing the story and congratulations, which is all part of the deer hunting tradition.
You got it in you, man.
Yeah. I was wondering after that bobcat.
Well, you know, the bobcat is just a little bit smaller, but you're still exactly where you're aiming, I'm sure, so it all worked out wonderful. That is a monster Ozark doe. Look at that long, long nose and huge body.
I knew if I missed this one, I probably wasn't going to ever hear the end of that. So.
There wasn't no pressure on you, was there?
No, not at all.
You know, back at the shed, I want to collect some more data. Of course, it's important to track body weights because age and body weight combined is a great way to monitor if your herd and food are in balance. Are those weights decreasing, staying the same, or improving as your habitat management projects come into play?
131.
This doe weighed 131 pounds. That's huge for this area where the primary food is timber and pastures, no row crops for county around. If that was in northern Iowa, that wouldn't be a big deer. But for here, she's a Boone and Crockett long nose. While I'm gutting the deer, I want to inspect her reproductive tract. I'm not trying to be crude, but is that uterus swollen? Is it collecting food? Has she been bred? If so, I might be able to remove those fetuses, measure them, and backdate to when she was bred. Late season, look at that.
Wow.
Some difference?
Oh yeah.
No doubt that deer's bred. We know she's got twins. There's both horns of the uterus, right?
Yep.
My good friend and founder of the Quality Deer Management Association, Joe Hamilton, did the original research to develop a fetal scale, which is just a measurement from the crown to the rump of the fetus, and by measuring that length, you can convert it to days, backdate that from the day it was harvested, and you'll know the day that doe was bred. We did that on this deer. Turns out she was bred on November 4th. Fits perfectly for my part of the world and what we saw in the rut this year.
That's awesome data for this property. You can tell exactly when some breeding, not just chasing and scrape behavior and rut was going on. You can tell when this doe was bred by little biology.
By collecting enough of that data, you can really time your hunting to know the real phases of the rut on your property and not what you read that happened states away. You know, you got the chase phase and the pre-rut and the breeding phase. By getting that breeding phase date down exactly, you can backdate to those other phases and really plan your hunting to use the best techniques at the right time. As we continue here at Growing Deer in 2012, we'll be sharing every week what we're seeing and what we're doing as hunters and managers. Hopefully we can help you making science very practical for your property. Thanks for watching GrowingDeer.tv. bullet should be right here somewhere, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
There it is right there. Look at that.